So, do singers swallow bugs? Like, all the time? They must, right? I am currently working on an in-depth long video on a very serious topic, but this is something that needs to be investigated. Right now. Let's Google shit together. As per usual, it turns out that I am behind on news about Taylor Swift. Last year, she apparently swallowed a bug live on stage during the Eras tour. Here's the video.
Swallowed a bug. I'm so sorry. It's only fine. It's just stupid. Oh, delicious.
But that is also the only case of this happening that I can find mentioned on the internet. If the Swifties deserve news about bug swallowage, so do the other fandoms. Well, scrolling down the page just kept bringing up Taylor, so I moved to a source known for its reliability, ChatGPT. According to all the Jeeps, these are the bug swallowings worth a mention. Miley Cyrus in 2013 swallowed and also spit out a bug during her performance at iHeartRadio Music Festival. Steven Tyler of Aerosmith and Having a Big Mouth fame got a bug in his throat in 2010, but he managed to sing through it and later on said, "That was not a pill I just swallowed, that was a fucking bug." And again, in 2013, the apparent year of the bug, Justin Bieber got bug-pilled by a fly during a concert, and just like Miley, he managed to spit it out. How true are these? Google was not particularly helpful, but I did find the full performance of Miley Cyrus at the 2013 iHeartRadio Music Festival on YouTube. Bug or not, it was a good watch, even though some of the visual aspects made me tad uncomfortable. Try as I may though, I could not find a moment that will qualify as her having an encounter with an insect. So I think it's safe to say that we can disregard ChatGPT, including the made-up Steven Tyler quote. Googling around for more examples was fruitless, except the fact that I found out about an unexpected connection between a bug and a singer. Did you know that Beyoncé has a fly named after her? That's right. Scaptio beyoncé is a species of horsefly, the sexiest of bugs. It was discovered in 1981, but because there were no former Destiny's Child members to name it after, it had to wait till 2011 to get its moniker. Brian Lessard, the biologist who named this gross thing, explained his reasoning thusly. "It was the unique dense golden hairs on the fly's abdomen that led me to name this fly in honor of the legendary singer, performer, and actress Beyoncé." Maybe you should go out less often, Brian. Well, at this point I exhausted anything to do with the vocalists, and decided to explore bug swallowing as a whole. How safe is it? Mostly safe, it seems, but I can't shake off my worries given the fact that the first link Google gives you is from yourpathologist.org. Digging a little deeper, I found out that indeed, swallowing bugs is completely safe unless you are allergic to the particular venom they carry, pieces of the bug end up in your lungs and cause breathing problems, bacteria that they have on their body gives you an infection followed by bloody diarrhea, or you could end up with a tapeworm, which, despite my username, does not give me happy thoughts. Not to cause panic though, these do really seem like edge cases, and a little fly in the mouth now and then won't hurt you. But what about all those spiders we swallow in our sleep? Everyone knows that you eat 8 spiders in your sleep on average in the time before you shuffle off this mortal coil. Except, how would you even measure that? You could set up a camera in your bedroom and film an arachnophobic version of Paranormal Activity. But who exactly would perform such a study? And on a scale that would yield a number applicable to large populations? I mean, no one would, and no one did. Because the 8 spiders fact is a lie, and in fact, was made up specifically as an exaggeratedly outrageous claim. The first time it appeared was in an article written by Lisa Bridget Holst in 1993 in the magazine PC Professional. The article was making fun of the early listicles sent out via email, and Holst completely made up the swallowing spiders fact to lampoon these disinformation-laden messages. Except, Lisa Bridget Holst is an anagram of "This is a big troll." She never existed and never wrote that article. The story explaining the myth of the 8 spiders per life was actually made up by the debunking site Snopes in April 2001. The site held onto this subtle April Fool's joke for a long time. It took them 20 years to finally admit it. The fantastic creator Lemino on YouTube was onto them already in 2016, when he made a video on the topic and figured out that Lisa Holst was a fake. Okay, but where does the number 8 come from? And why spiders? According to actual experts, it's theoretically possible, but highly unlikely that a spider would even want to crawl into a sleeping human's mouth. We are big, we are scary, and we snore. There is no logical reason why a spider would forego its survival instincts for a little bit of that throat action. Will we ever figure out who came up with this myth? So far, the actual oldest mention of it on the internet comes from a PDF copy of the university magazine Cornell Engineer from 1992. In the April issue, you can find a humorous article called Things to Stress Over, written by Margot A.S. Vigent. These are some of the things that worried an engineering student in the 90s. What if you're so afraid of getting leukemia from your electric blanket that you throw it away and then freeze to death in your cold dorm room? What if the United States is invaded by a hostile power, but everyone is too busy playing Tetris to notice? And, my favorite, what if they make Star Trek 7? Oh, sweet Margaret, Generations is far from what you should have been worried about as a Trekkie. Silly me, I almost forgot. Here is a direct quote mentioning the spiders. The average person swallows 8 spiders while sleeping in their lifetime. What if all 8 show up at the same time? Based on this quote, it really seems that Margot was comfortably using the 8 spiders myth as something that people would readily recognize. So this almost definitely isn't the original source. By the way, the article came out, as I said, in an April issue of the magazine, and Margot A.S. Weigand is an anagram of aggravate inmost. Coincidence? Yeah, almost definitely. Our guts are certainly not free of bugs, however. If you are in the US, you might want to cover your ears and sing loudly for the next few minutes. The blue pill is probably the better choice on this one. The FDA has something called Food Defect Levels Handbook, which lists unavoidable yucky things that happen to food, but present no or very little hazard to humans. This stuff gets oddly specific too. For example, according to the FDA, it's okay if 100 grams of thick paste contains up to 13 insect heads. Fruit juices contain a single maggot for every 250 milliliters, or 10 grams of hops contain no more than 2,500 aphids. Do not ask me how they count the heads or the aphids. When reading the handbook, it is quite jarring to see phrases like insect filth, rot, or my favorite, mammalian excreta. So yeah, you do eat bugs, and so do I. Just not in our sleep. In fact, according to Layla Applet, writing for Scientific American, quote, an individual probably ingests about 1 to 2 pounds of flies, maggots, and other bugs each year without even knowing it. Why did I choose to explore this topic again? To be fair though, eating insects knowingly is becoming quite the fad, as you are probably aware, unless you live under a rock. And if you do live under a rock, then run away. You might become a hipster's next dinner. Insects, mainly crickets and mealworms, are more and more often the choice of protein source for environmentally minded people who don't mind eating living things. You can find cricket protein powder and bars on the market, but the way to go is more fresh buggies. Their main advantage is requiring much less water and feed than what would be considered normal livestock, like pigs or cows. Plus, they take up much less space and breed more quickly. Of course, there are many cultures that already have insects as staples in their cuisine, so the yuck factor is more of a Western thing. Plus, if you ask me, shrimp is just wet bugs, so what's the big deal? When writing these words, it is exactly 12:21 AM, and I have been on a weird Googling bender for hours. Seems like the best time to dive into a weird conspiracy theory. In March of last year, a Dutch right-wing politician, Thierry Baudet, tweeted a photo of himself pouring out a bag of mealworms with the message, "We will not eat bugs." Okay, nobody's forcing you, theory. But of course, according to him and other right-wing populists that get their talking points from 4chan, the bug eating fad is actually a plan by the New World Order to, I don't know, make us go gross before every dinner. NPR dug deeper into this conspiracy and found a French blogger who considers himself a white identitarian and is trying to connect eating bugs with the burning of the Notre Dame Cathedral and at this point I was ready to call it a night. Sweet dreams, my lovelies. Like this video if you actually liked it, and feel free to comment about your own bug eating habits. If you don't like this video, you can leave a comment about that too, but I would prefer if you don't. It still drives the engagement, but also lowers my already low self-esteem. See you soonish, probably with a feature-length rant. Tape out.